I'm Tony Bruschi. Welcome. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage on the trial of Alex Murdaugh. This is a look back at some of the key moments and conversations that we've had over the last several weeks regarding the case.
This is a podcast that seeks justice. Justice for the lives stolen by those in society that hide amongst us every day. Hidden in our towns, cities, and countrysides, the places that we work, and sometimes in our very own homes. This is Hidden Killers.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Tony Bruschi. Be sure to press subscribe wherever you download podcasts so you don't miss any of our episodes and breaking updates on the cases that we are following for you. If you'd like a commercial-free experience, you can get that through Apple Podcasts. Even try it for 3 days free right now. Let's go into the conversation today about Alex Murdaugh. Repeated reprimands could result in the family actually being booted from the proceedings. There's been some things that have gone on that you're not aware of. Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, joining us today to talk about some of those issues. Jennifer, what have you seen?
Well, some of the issues were passing something that ended up being a book, but of course we don't know if it was hollowed out or what was in the pages of that book. And so that was a big concern. Just passing anything to someone who is standing trial for a double murder is not going to be tolerated by a judge. In addition, there was a sign that was given by Buster to one of the attorneys when he testified. So things like this are not going to be tolerated. I'm surprised it wasn't acted upon even earlier, but I'm glad to see this judge is maintaining control of their courtroom. They've already been pushed back away from the defendant, and I think that's the appropriate action.
It's been very surprising that they would be doing this. I mean, Alec should know full well that this is not something that can be done in court, but was it a thought, in your opinion, that, well, he can get away with it? Is this another reflection of the entitlement that they've had for so long?
I think this is such an entitled family. When you just listen to the fact that, they had full-time housekeepers, somebody to make their meals, would go on spending what we would call a spending spree of thousands of dollars was just a normal day out at a store for them. They lived in such a situation of entitlement, and you can see it translate here, that they're just not going to be held accountable for seemingly anything they do.
It's amazing how that just continues to go on because it's such a way of life and conditioning for them. There was the bomb threat earlier in the week. Any of your thoughts on that? Is that connected, in your opinion, at all to the Murdaugh family? Is this some sort of jury intimidation technique, or just some idiot that thought, well, I can make a bomb threat and make a big fuss here?
Well, considering everything that the Murdaugh family has been has come to light, and especially talking about the recent behavior in the courtroom, I wouldn't put anything past them, having somebody make some sort of a threat. However, there's no information that we have publicly that it is related to the Murdaughs being responsible. So it could just be somebody who called it in to cause a commotion. So, Tony, we don't know, but I'm going to say I would put nothing past Murdaugh.
I 100% agree on that. If you're someone sitting on the jury right now, is there any cause for concern for your own well-being or your family's well-being, knowing the history of this family, or assuming the jury doesn't know much of the history of the family? But if you just knew a bit of the past, not necessarily much about Alex's case, but the lengths that this family will historically seem to go to protect itself. And you are there deciding the fate of its, current, leader or former leader, if you will. Is there any worry or concern that one of these jurors may recuse himself out or step out of fear?
Well, I think we've seen this a lot when we watch mafia trials, when we watch big drug conspiracy trials, that there's certainly this view that possibly a juror could either be coerced by money or coerced by threat. This is kind of a little microcosm of something that we see in these other situations. But what we found is that when you start taking away power, somebody's sitting in jail, their money has completely declined, their liquid assets are really no more or very reduced. You find that this isn't near the threat that it would have been when Alex Murdaugh was at his prime.
Sure. Lots of evidence coming out in the last week or so, some forensic, some circumstantial, both when you put them together, seeming to fit together like a puzzle pretty well. Talk to me about some of the evidence that you've seen thus far that really stands out to you in terms of evidence that's strong enough to convict, and what pieces that maybe don't hold as much weight as some on the outside may think.
Well, for me, this case, and I know this was early on in the testimony, but I really just believe as a juror that they're going to look at all the lies and inconsistencies and the objective truth as to where Alex Murdaugh was when these murders took place, where he said he was, where he actually was, what happened in terms of the cellular telephone evidence, the issue with the guns. I know a lot of people thought that testimony wasn't strong, but in my experience, the testimony of an examiner saying, listen, these casings are from the exact same type of casings that were used at their private range. I think that was a very good nexus. And like I said, in my experience, that is usually held on well by jurors. I like that the judge allowed the financial information to come in. It's very important for them to show motive, for them to show just how deep into financial hole he was. And further, I think all of these little conspiracies really give this jury a chance to see the diabolicalness, really the psychotic behavior of Alex Murdaugh on many levels. And I think that's why you're going to see a conviction in this case.
He really, they're trying now to paint him as, the aw shucks, good old boy, showing videos of birthday parties, and he's so happy. And how could this man brutally murder his wife and son? But at the same point, he was the aw shucks man at the office as well. People that he worked with that go back to his high school days, that know him even longer than some of his own family. And he was that guy there too, but was able to steal millions of dollars and maintain that character. Is it that far of a cry that there's this whole other side that he painted to his family, the same way he was painting to his law firm for 20 some years, of this complete other human being?
Completely agree with you. He was truly a dichotomy, a true Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, who could laugh and ingratiate himself in high society in South Carolina, and nevertheless commit terrible crimes, terrible financial crimes that cause great harm to so many people. And if we're to believe he committed these two crimes, murdered his own wife and son, it doesn't get any worse than that. And I think we're seeing, as I said, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde play out.
How damning is his voice on tape? That dog call, was that like the dog call of death for Alex Murdaugh, where it's just so simple, but that puts him where he said he was not moments before this murder took place. And obviously it's voice, his face is not there. There's of course vocal recognition techniques that can be used, but even you said some of the strongest vocal recognition just comes from friends and family, and everyone is saying that is definitely Alex.
Yes, that's the best form of vocal recognition. You can put your charts and graphs and show highs and lows, but what really is convincing is the people that have heard his voice day in and day out for years and years and years recognize that voice as him. And I think it's extremely damning. It basically discounts everything he told law enforcement as being very self-serving and really just a bundle of lies to cover up, it would seem, this murder.
It just keeps going and going. Nothing will stop Alex Murdaugh, it seems. Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, thank you for your insight. As always, a pleasure talking with you. Be sure to press subscribe wherever you're downloading podcasts so you don't miss any of our breaking updates and discussions on the cases that we are following for you right here. You can follow me on Twitter at TonyBPod. Until next time, for all of us, I'm Tony Bruschi. Thanks for listening.